Well, a puppy that eats and shreds their bed is not ready to have a bed yet. So no bed for young puppies.
Yeah. And what are you going to say to the people who right now are saying, oh, that's so mean, they need a bed?
Well, having worked in a veterinary hospital and actually
an emergency hospital.
And actually having this happen to a dog that was in my care too. Ooh. When I was in high school, I worked at a German Shepherd kennel, and one of the German Shepherds managed to pull in a towel that was left to dry up on her kennel. And the next morning, we came in and she wasn't eating her food. And she continued not to eat and just became very listless. And the owner of the kennel took her in and they did an exploratory surgery. And sure enough, she had shredded up that towel and eaten part of it. And it was causing a blockage. And she didn't survive the surgery.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
It was it was awful. I remember her name was Sprite. And I remember her to this day, even though that was, 30 something years ago. I think of that dog and how she innocently ate something she shouldn't. And working at the emergency kennel, veterinary hospital, I saw it a lot. A lot of dogs eating pieces of bed, pieces of toys, socks, underwear, all kinds of things. Yeah. So it's not worth the risk. It's not
really
worth the risk.
It's really not. And once you have a dog that has reliable habits, it's a non-issue. Mm-hmm. But when we have our young puppies, if they are physically capable of ripping something apart, like they're old enough that they can, that's a dangerous scenario to leave that dog unsupervised with something that they might rip up. Actually, Instructor Robbie last night was saying, well, Scene just turned this old. I can't remember how old Scene is right now, but maybe just over a year or so. She's still in that sort of adolescent realm. And Robbie said last night, well, we went out to the keg for dinner for our anniversary, and I thought, okay, you know what? Scene's been great with this bed in her crate when I've been there to supervise, so I'm going to leave her unattended with it while we go to the keg. And so left the bed in the crate with Scene to see how she would do while they were out at dinner, because she had been making fabulous choices. Right. So Robbie thought, oh, she's ready for this. And then Robbie said, we got home and I looked through the window and I thought she was sitting in a snow globe. So even at that age, very well trained, very well supervised, very well managed. And she still was bored, lonely, whatever the case may be, and decided to tear a little hole in one corner and then just basically systematically pulled out the stuffing and had a grand old time doing it. Yes. So that bed is now obviously in the garbage, but Robbie's definitely going to make sure that she's not replacing that bed. And when she does, she's spending enough time supervising first and then before she gets into the test, because that basically was Scene saying, no, I'm really not ready for it. Even though I seem like I might be, I'm not ready for it yet. So,
like there's some situations where I can sit on my bed, but not when you're not here.
Yes, exactly. Yes. And, puppies are scavengers first. So they are going to look for things to entertain themselves. They're going to look for things to eat. And if they don't understand that things like their bed are off limits for chewing just yet, there's a very real possibility that they might end up chewing it and ingesting pieces of it. And that is just not, that's really playing with fire.
Right,
I mean, foreign body extraction surgery is typically fairly successful, but it all depends on circumstances. Right. How much of the intestine has been impacted? Is it still in the stomach? There's all sorts of factors that go into that.
It's very costly.
Yes.
Veterinary care can be very costly. And also, looking after a recovering puppy is tough. It's stressful.